It's 12 o'clock noon, and it's time for Rip It Live on Facebook, where we talk everything Fastpitch, from college recruiting to high school happenings to the latest in Rip It sports equipment, paraphernalia, and the latest happenings in the softball world. We do this for you, the softball community, to be as informed and educated as possible to make the best decisions with your softball lives. Joining me today is Jimmy Mayo, who's the father of daughter Kayla Mayo, who's a University of West Florida softball commit, and she attends Lake Mineola High School as a senior ball player. My name is Wes Pollock. I am your host. I'm going to be flying solo again today, as Amy's unfortunately cannot be able to make it, but we'll do our best and we'll move forward. Before we start with questions for Jim, we have the product giveaway for this week. Once again, we've got the beautiful Rip It backpack. Again, one of the best designed backpacks I've seen, one of the nicest looking backpacks I've seen, and fits all your necessary equipment: bats, cleats, gloves, face masks, all your Rip It gear go inside this backpack with a lot of room. How do we win? We share a video, tag a parent or a coach, make sure it's public so we can see it, and the winner will be announced on next week's show. As well, we want to give a warm Coach Pollock welcome to the newest member of the Rip It family, the Synergy team out of Hawaii. Yes, out of Hawaii. Rip It extends that far across this country. Great state, great island, and the uniforms that they picked out, 40 of them in fact, look great. If you want to comment with any questions, again, and answer them live, we'll answer them live as they come in. If you're just joining us, don't forget to share the video and tag a parent or coach to be eligible to win again the Rip It backpack. If you're just tuning in, comment below and let us know what your team, where you're with, what team you're with, and any questions you might have. And once again, congratulations to the Team Synergy from Hawaii, who was able to join Rip It and become part of the Rip It team. And we appreciate your involvement. All right, as we move to our guest, James Mayo, who again, his daughter is Kayla Mayo. She's a University of West Florida commit. She's a senior at Lake Mineola High School. And we've had James come in here to answer some of the questions we have on college recruiting, the process involved with recruiting, the experiences his daughter, himself, and his family, his wife Vicky, have gone through in terms of this process. Welcome, James.
Thank you, Wes.
James, when did your daughter begin the recruiting process, and how did you get started on the journey to having your daughter begin the college recruiting? Were you as a family open to all regions of the country when you were considering different schools? Were you more focused on the South, or specifically Florida? I know there's a few questions in one there.
Yeah.
But we can start at the beginning. When did you start the process?
I said when she was about 14. It was a transition period from the Lady Canes, where she was, I think maybe in junior high still, but she was playing up. So she was playing with girls that were already in high school, and we kind of saw that they were taking a different avenue to where it wasn't just about tournament play. It was more about, the next stage, going into college and things like that, and getting recruited. So we saw that at that point things were going to change, and that's probably the direction she'd have to go. So around that time, we started looking at colleges, and we sent out emails to coaches and things like that, and did camps, showcases with you and things like that. So that's when the ball really started to get rolling.
Okay. How about location-wise? Were you open?
She pretty much wanted to stay here in Florida, so we just did the local tournaments, camps, things like that. But we ventured out to, I think it was Scenic City, South Carolina. We did that just to see what was out there. But other than that, everything was pretty much local.
What were some of the challenges that you experienced during the college scholarship recruiting process? I know, look, I've gone through this myself as a parent. I've gone through this as a coach for many other people. It can be very torturous at times.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly rewarding if it ends successfully.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bumps in the road, and it can be tough. So what were some of the highs and lows that you guys experienced during the journey?
I say for the most part, it was kind of smooth. Everything was, like I said, we got the emails out, we did the camps, showcases. I think one thing that sticks out to me is when she had 2 offers on the table. One was with a D1 school, University of North Florida, and the other one was a D2 school, University of West Florida. So at that time, we were kind of looking at options and seeing what North Florida was going to bring to the table as far as an offer. And it was a situation where I guess they had lost a pitcher, and they were trying to recruit another pitcher. So Kayla was in kind of limbo stage there, trying to, wait out UNF to see what kind of offer they were going to bring. So at that point, they came back with an offer, and we just felt like at that point it was, it wasn't what we were looking for. So we decided to go with UWF's offer. And, it's 6 hours away compared to 3 hours away, but both great coaches, nice schools, so we're pretty happy with the decision she made.
That's a common issue when being recruited, that schools have budgets for how many scholarships they can give out.
Right.
And then they have certain needs or requirements and position player wise, whether it be, and sometimes they're low on pitchers one year, sometimes there's a surplus another year, sometimes they have too many outfielders, not enough infielders. So really sometimes it is the roll of the dice. Though your player, your child may be a great certain position player, it just may not be a match at a certain school.
Right.
Even if they are good enough, because that school has a surplus of that position, so therefore you need to look at other options. And some of the things I talk to my players about, and as well as in my players' choice mentoring business, is that you need to have a school of about 10 to 20, a number of schools, 10 to 20 usually, where you have a larger net to cast. And so therefore, like I said, if there's a conflict with one, or one looks like it's heading down the way it's going to help you, and at the last minute things change because a pitcher got hurt, and therefore the school has to grab another pitcher and doesn't have the money again to come to your position, you have backups in place. And I think it's really important out there when you're going through the recruiting process that you have a larger net to cast with, and so therefore you have multiple choices and opportunities. So you hear that a lot.
Most definitely.
What role did travel ball and high school ball play in the college recruitment process of your daughter Kayla? I mean, what was the turning point in the process for you? And could you finally see that your daughter potentially would be rewarded for her hard work?
Sure, yeah. Again, I think it was around the same age, 14, 15 years old. And we were going from the Lady Kings to eventually ending up with Mike Thomas's Wagner's Gold team. And she was the youngest one on that team at that point. And I just wasn't sure if she was able to step up and play 18U ball at that time, but she did, and she did very well. So at that point, I kind of figured she could play up. She played up for the majority of her softball. And at that point, I kind of knew, if she kept at it, kept working, this was something that would be a platform to her to head into college.
Right, so, okay, so you felt that with travel ball, though, played a more prominent role?
Yeah, I would say definitely. It's different with high school ball. High school ball at that point when she was a freshman, she was looking up to those girls, the juniors and the seniors. And now that she's a senior, now she's able to be more of a leader. So I think that's helping her, I guess being a leader, being more of a vocal leader as well.
Yeah, I've seen the evolution of Kayla on my team at Wildfire as a travel ball player, where she was a young rookie when she came to us, and now in her senior year in high school, she has become a leader on and off the field. Right. So definitely it happens, and I think, like I said, it's important, like I said, to go through that evolution process. And I see coaches, junior colleges, maybe NAIA, attend some high school games when they're close to the area and have an eye on some of the talent on the field. But predominantly, most of the coaches are coming to the travel ball showcase tournaments during the summer and fall season, and that's predominantly where most of the recruiting process takes place. High school, in my opinion, is part of the development of the player year-round in different areas, work ethic, balancing their time, time management between academics and athletics, and of course, always playing for your school is something to be proud of. But I think the majority of the recruiting process takes place at the travel ball level. I see that Tim Huggins has a question for us. He says, sometimes I can't win. I have a 20-25, 12-year-old, and I'm starting to get videos out and starting getting social media accounts set up. Some people say it's too early to do that. My question would be why? Why is it too early? We are not expecting to get recruited. Just sounds like we are accepting to get recruited. We just want to be talked to, but we also want to go ahead and start kind of getting a little recognition when its time has come. Okay, so Tim brings a good point up, that yes, technically as a 12-year-old player, she is too young to be approached by colleges, especially the Division I, can't go anywhere near you that age in terms of discussions. However, Tim raises a good point where he says if you've got a player who's advanced for her skill sets, for her age, and you want to get her out there, and you want to get exposure to colleges, put her on college radars, even if they put a file on your daughter in the filing cabinet and they bring it out in 2022 or 2023 for 2025, it's never a bad thing to get on the radar. However, I will say, Tim, make sure your daughter is still enjoying playing the game at the level of ball that she's at, because the stress level and the pressure really begins to mount as you get closer to recruiting age, through the recruiting age, and you don't want to take away those fun or innocent times that players have at 12 and even 14 to a degree, and 10. So it's a fine balance. It's okay to have her get videoed. It's how she's going to improve, she's going to grow, she's going to physically get change in size. You got to have the evolution, understand that's going to take place. And it's okay to fire it off to coaches and say, hey, please keep an eye on this one 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road and take a looking at her. But again, keep a fine balance, in my opinion, between enjoying the game at 12 years old and the stress level, like I said, and pressures that start mounting at 16 and 17 and 18 years old. It can be a fun stress, a fun pressure, but nevertheless, there is pressure and stress involved. So again, keep that in mind. That would be my advice on that question. Do you agree?
Yeah, most definitely. At that point, again, I guess the example I can give with Kayla is around that time, 14, 15 years of age, I gave her the option, if she wanted to continue or, if she wanted to pursue something else. But she came back to it, she wanted to stick with softball. And like you said, you just want to make sure it's fun for them at the time. Just make sure they're having fun and growing, continuing to grow in the sport.
Yeah, and that's still a time where kids are playing multiple sports.
Yeah.
And at some point, I always say you're going to have to make a decision on which sport, because it's
Right.
tough to be great at one when you're trying to be good at 3.
Right.
And to get a scholarship to go to college, you really have to be great at one sport, unless you're a super phenom,
Right. Right.
Bo Jackson, what I mean,
Right.
type. But ultimately, so also bear in mind that as well, that, players of that age could be great athletes and talented in multiple sports, so, their interests could vary and could change. But certainly if she loves playing softball, continue to encourage that and encourage the growth in her, but just make sure you keep it fun for her age.
Sorry, Wes, but he's talking about, I guess, at 12 years of age. We might have started late, because I think Kayla was maybe 14 or 15 at that time. So maybe around that 13, 14 years of age, that's when you might want to start plugging away a little bit more and attending camps and stuff like that.
Good. Did you guys experience an emotional roller coaster during this process?
Not too much. Like I said, around that time, that was really the only time that I felt like, it was tournament after tournament, practice after practice, and then, like you said, she was playing basketball at the time, too. So it was just a lot going on, and I just pretty much gave her the option. If you want to continue, let's do it. If not, it's completely up to her. I don't want to force her to do something that, eventually down the road she's going to regret. So as a coach, parent, I'm fortunate now to be able to still coach her with travel in high school, and we have a pretty good relationship. So I just feel like, as long as you keep that communication with your child, you'll head in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think from where I sat watching you and your family and Kayla, being on my team, you've had a pretty smooth ride in terms of the recruiting process, which is nice.
Right.
University of West Florida is a Division II school, which is a nice
Yeah.
place to land.
Yeah,
You kept within your goal and stayed in Florida.
yeah.
It's not always easy for everybody. There are some bumps in the road, there's some disappointments, there's times, where, like I said, where it looks like it's heading in one direction,
Mhm.
looks like it's gonna be locked up, and doesn't happen because either the performance at the tournament when the coach is watching
Yeah.
doesn't happen, unfortunately. There could be a change of coaches, so the coach that was
Yeah.
recruiting you and going after you, maybe leaving the school,
Mhm.
get changed, and then
You brought
you
that
have to
up.
start all over again, impressing a new coach. So a lot of ups and downs, and it can be very stressful in a family.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's rewarding when it all works out, and many times it does, and at least fortunately in my history, I've had a lot of success that way as a coach, but there are times it doesn't work out, and it's really tough. But you get over it, and you battle through it. And like I said, I always say in life, tell my kids the same thing, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up.
That's it.
That makes you the player and the person that you are later in life.
Yeah.
You were gonna say something?
You brought up the example of a coach leaving. I think Flagler was on Kayla's radar, and we went to see their games and things like that, and she started to get a rapport with the coach, and I think she just wanted to retire and be with her family. So I felt like that was probably one of her top 3 schools, and then another coach came in, and it's funny, like one of our travel girls that ended up going to Flagler called Kayla and said, hey, your name's up on our board. Like, I guess, like you said, they were looking at her as a recruit, but once coaches changed, that kind of changed everything, so.
Yeah. And, just want to touch on it, ADs, athletic directors change too, and athletic directors do come in, they sometimes want their own coach, and there might be a coaching change. So one of the things to look for too, during the recruiting process as well, is to see if the AD hired the present coach. Because if it's the AD's coach in place, then typically there's a term that goes long enough to see how successful the coach can be. If it's a different coach who was hired by a different AD, it can work out, but I've also seen where it didn't work out. Because like I said, when someone comes in new, they like to put their own people in place. So those are one question you might want to ask during your recruiting process as well. Were you ever at a point where it became so frustrating and discouraging that you questioned whether this whole process was worth it?
No. She enjoys the game. We all enjoy the game as a family. So, we just kept plugging away at it. It got to the point where the tide turned, and she started to kind of dictate when we were hitting, when she was working out and things like that. So just the other day, she had a workout, and I was looking for her in the house, and she was already at the workout. So I was like, you can't beat that. She had turned the tide, and she knows what's ahead of her. So I think that's what's making it a little bit easier for her right now.
Yeah, because part of this process, it's a family process.
Mhm.
It's not just the player, it's not just one parent, it's the whole family.
Right.
You spend a lot of time together at the fields. You probably miss birthdays,
Mhm.
you might miss anniversaries,
Oh, yeah.
right? And to be at a certain tournament, because it's an important tournament for your child's recruiting process. Could be at a high school tournament, it could be a showcase tournament for travel ball. So when you go through this recruiting process, high school and college, you're all in as a family. It's a family decision. It's a commitment by everybody, not just the player. The player needs the parent support to fully benefit from the experience. And the parents, though, take a joy in this whole process as well. And there were great times for me, and things that I'll never forget and be so memorable as we move on in life.
Mhm.
Now, we as parents, we want the best for our kids, and we pursue this college scholarship opportunities. It requires dedication, time,
Yeah.
sacrifice, we just talked about that, commitment, financial investment as well, in terms of private lessons,
Mhm.
travel team fees, out-of-town showcase tournaments, hotels, meals, gas, lodging, things like that. When you reflect on your journey with Kayla,
Mhm.
do you have any changes, do you have any decisions that you wish you would change, things you've done differently? timeline-wise, team-wise, anything that maybe when you reflect back on all these experiences, all the expenses, that you would maybe do a little differently for someone who's just starting to go through the process?
The only thing I would suggest is probably to do more camps. And that was the thing where I kind of struggled with as a travel coach and parent. Sometimes those camps are in the complete opposite direction of your showcase or your tournament, whatever you're playing at that time. And you hate to take your child away from the team aspect of it, as far as playing. But sometimes if it's one of those top 5, maybe even top 10 schools that your child's interested in, that may be a camp that you want to go to. So I think, and that's how Kayla actually got picked up in I think it was Tallahassee. I forget what that one's called, but Coach Ashley was actually pitching to her and saw that she had fast hands, just like how she swung the bat and her speed and everything, and pretty much followed her ever since. I think she was 14 at the time, and she's been on their radar, and the offer came through, and we took it. So, but as far as changing anything, that'd be the only thing. As far as the experience, you can't. That's second to none. You can't, take away from that.
Yeah, I think it's an all combination, like I said, and you try and get the best guidance you can, ask a lot of questions. Hopefully your coach can provide you with guidance and mentoring. Important to be on the right team who gets the proper exposure, has a relationship with coaches. We've been fortunate that we get a lot of attention from college coaches. And have good relationships, or you extend out to a service potentially that can help you, but as long as it's within your, financial wherewithal. So, that's it. Thank you, Jimmy, for your insight.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Wes.
I know you've had a lot of success with Kayla. She's a great ball player.
Thank you.
I know she plays on my team. I appreciate her abilities, her attitude, and I know you, Vicki, have raised her well, and I have no doubt she'll be very successful when she gets to the University of West Florida.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and remember, moms, Ripit has a private Facebook group just for moms. I hope to see that you'll see you there. Just search Softball Mom Squad. Click the link in the comments below. Thank you for taking part in that as well. And now it's time for this week's Ripit High School Heroes. It's been an enjoyable segment. It's actually caught fire. And even Jimmy helps contribute with me too on that, as he's well plugged in. So we got some new high school heroes for this week. It was a big week for pitchers as we look at Ripit's high school heroes for the week. Last week, going back earlier last week, Delaney Heberlin threw a no-hitter and struck out 14 as Eustace beat Tavares in a 6-inning run rule, 10-0. So a big outing for Delaney, and we know Delaney.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She gets played with our team, and she definitely is a workhorse. She gets it done. Dr. Phillips' freshman, Ailey Sheik, went 2 for 3 with a double, 5 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Dr. Phillips moved to 10-0 and shut out 9 teams as he beat Boone 10-0. So I think the defensive coordinator on Dr. Phillips deserves a bonus. You can shut out 9 teams in 10 games. That got to be getting bonuses in the NFL. Savannah Barnett of Lady Union High School had another big week in the pitching circle and at the plate. Savannah threw another no-hit shutout, going 4 for 4, and having double digits in strikeouts. She also had other wins over Winter Haven and Selly Lake High School, where again she struck out 24 batters over the 2 games and popped a home run as well.
Wow.
So again, Savannah,
Yeah.
our team, and a wildfire player, and we're happy for her and excited that she's having a great season. Shelby Jones of Osceola had a big night pitching stretching circle. She went the distance. Pitching 7 innings, they got 1 run straight out of 13. He was for Osceola and Harvey 2-1. Sacco came out big on the pitching stretching circle. She led they dropped another 1-0 win at Cowell. Squad. Game of 2 stretching straight battles after pitchers were all involved in this positive silence the sacks. Kudos for the pitchers. We'll change out now. High school heroes. When I look at college, Shelby, we had 2 big moments two players who play for me, so maybe I'm the biased, but he's been pretty much moments. They both have what I consider Hall of Fame stand-up careers in college. First, we former Windermere Prep 2015 high school softball graduate, as well as Windermere Wildfire HMU version 1.0. I think we're on to 6 or 7.0 now, but it was 1.0 there, the original. This past week, Philadelphia seniors California recorded her 200th college career hit to go along with her 54th college career double against North Dakota State University. And in so doing, she became the only Florida Gulf Coast player hit in history to record 200 hits and 50 doubles in a college career.
Wow,
Pretty impressive in a town of Windermere.
that's sharp.
And as a former player, you know, my player, high school, I coached her in high school and I coached her travel ball. Obviously, I couldn't be more proud of her and what she's accomplished in her high school career. So she gets the coaching thumbs up for that feat. Awesome job. And finally, Mia Olson, another 2015 high school graduate from Timber Creek High School, as well as a former Wildfire Windermere 18U version 1.0 graduate. That was a strong team, I must say. Our first team was a good one. She hit 2 home runs this past weekend, helping Florida Atlantic University defeat the University of Southern Miss Golden Eagles, which is my daughter's former team,
Okay,
in their Conference USA series in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, 2-1. Those 2 home runs gave Mia 17 for her college career, which placed her 7th all-time on the FAU career home run list. And they still have a little less than half a season to go. So congratulations to Mia on a great accomplishment, as well as a great college career. And once again, as your former coach, thumbs up for that accomplishment. And those are your Rip It High School and College Heroes of the Week. Okay, as we close it out, remember again to tag a parent, a coach, share this video, please share. It's a lot of good information that we're bringing you every week. We want to help the softball world, the softball community, be better educated, be better informed on college recruiting, high school happenings, Rip It's latest equipment and products. So it's a great opportunity to tune in, and if a person can't tune in, please share the video with them. And again, you have a chance to win this infamous Rip It backpack, which, like I said, is great looking, great design, fits pretty much everything you need. I could use one of these.
Yeah, I know,
Right? My coaching equipment. We'll be announcing the winner of this Rip It bag next week, on next Wednesday's show, 12 o'clock on the 27th of March. And our next week's show will be discussing pitching techniques and video analysis. So you don't want to miss that one, especially you pitchers. And as we're seeing the high school hero pitchers dominate this last week, we know there's a lot of pitchers out there. So you don't want to miss that next week's show on pitching techniques and video analysis. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 12 noon on Rip It Live on Facebook.